All right, what's up, everybody? We are here at module one, still a module one, and we are on lesson number 3. No, we're lesson number 4. Sorry about that. Lesson number 4. And in this lesson, we'll be talking about the importance of your appearance. Now, this is going to be, part of it's going to be touchy, but at the end of the day, you know, tough conversations need to be had when you want to better yourself, right? But main thing with your appearance is, number one, understanding that your appearance when you're meeting somebody for the first time, it's tied in with their first impression of you. You only get one chance at that, right? You don't get a redo at that. So you always want to make sure that that goes as well as it can. When you're out and you're thinking about your clothing, or just your appearance in general, the main thing you want to keep in mind is that you want the other person to know you took time thinking about how you looked when you walked out the door. It's the main thing, right? Some people may say, oh, he's going to tell me to buy a bunch of expensive clothing, and, you know, for ladies, I got to do my hair in an expensive way and buy the most expensive hair. And, you know, if you buy hair, or if not, right? I know in my culture, that's what we do. My parents are West Indian, and, you know, in the black culture, women buy hair. So let's get that out the way. But no, I'm not telling anyone to go out of their way from a financial standpoint to, you know, go into debt trying to look a certain way. No, that's definitely not the case. But you just want to make sure that your appearance and how you come across is at least thought out. It doesn't have to be well thought out like you're going down a runway, right? Fashion runway, but it just has to be thought out. And this is a checklist that you can give yourself. Listen, the stuff that I'm about to say, for some of you, this is second nature. You do this on the daily, and you don't have to think about this. This is what you do. If that's you, congratulations, but I'm not talking about you. But you can get some of this too. You know, you can get something from this too. But for everyone else, you know, just pay attention. Easy stuff, okay? How's my nails? How do I smell? How am I dressed? What am I wearing right now? Like, how do I feel when I'm walking out the door? What am I wearing? Right? What is this? What do I have on me right now? Simple. Guys, haircut. See, I'm bald, so it's a little easier, even though I still go to the barbershop because I get my beard groomed, okay? So that's important. I don't do this myself. I go to the barbershop. Some people would say, oh, why would you go to a barbershop? I like how the barber does it way better than I think that I can do it. So I go to the barbershop to handle that. I personally actually shave my head myself for guys, and I like it that way because sometimes the razors at the barbershops aren't necessarily the best, you know, for shaving your head, and, you know, my skin could be sensitive at times. So I do it at home by myself, and my barber does the rest. So you can do that, right? Ladies, you can ask yourself the same exact questions except for the beard part, right? You know, how am I dressed? Nails, hair, how do I smell? You know, is my breath okay, right? Gentlemen, you gotta ask yourself that. These are just normal things that you should already know. But again, we're talking about, you know, if you're in social settings, you know, meeting people for the first time, these are things that also are attached with you, whether it be on a conscious level, you know, with folks that are around you or see you all the time, or even sometimes even a subconscious level, right? They know in the back of their minds that you've already programmed them that you can either dress really well or not dress good at all, right? They just kind of know, yeah, I don't know if, you know, they'd be the right fit to this event that we're about to go to, etc. So think about that stuff. It's important, you know, and it can be done on a budget. You don't have to, you know, spend a lot of money looking nice. So for men, you know, if you don't have Versace, you know, money for a suit, it's cool. Go to Men's Warehouse, and there's always some sales there, and they always have some nice stuff. They got the tailor there that'll make sure that it fits you properly. Fine, you know what I mean? Look nice in a suit. If you don't have Dior money for the dinner date, that's cool too. Just go and get some stuff from, I don't know, Zara, H&M, go to the Gap, Macy's. I mean, there's places that you can buy, you know, reasonably priced things and still look the times. And that's important too. Look, you gotta look the times. Look how, you know, look. I have a saying with myself: when I buy clothing, my secret to buying clothing. So I enjoy buying clothing. I'm from New York. It's kind of like, I don't know, a thing for us. Growing up there is just a part of life. You always kind of want to, like, you know, we want to be fresh, you know. I don't know if you use that word in whatever part of the world you're in right now, but yeah, we want to look good. We being fresh is we just want to look good. I'm from New York, so having sneakers, right? All the latest sneakers is a thing for us, and still to this day is the same way. But I always wanted to look nice. I always wanted to go outside and look cool, but you don't have to spend a ton of money doing that. Into my rule, that's what I was saying before, you know, the rule that I have for myself is I want to look timeless with the newest stuff. That's my personal rule as a guy. I want to be timeless, but wearing the latest things. Now, some of you can do that. Some of you maybe can't do that. The way how you can still accomplish that without having to spend a lot of money is just understand this. Logos, don't worry about no logos, right? You don't want no big polo man on your shirt as a guy. Like, that's tacky as hell. You don't want to do that. You don't want any big logos at all, period. If you're wearing big logos all over your clothing, especially now, like this is being recorded in the end of 2023 going into 2024, and that's not the look. You know what I mean? The look, you want to look casual, you want to look clean, no logos. Now again, the younger kids, if you're like mid to early 20s, late teens, they have a whole different way of their dressing right now. But remember, at that age group, they're dressing based on what's cool, what's in style. I'm talking about for the people, the rest of us who don't necessarily care about, you could dress, you know, if you're into fashion, go do your thing. But if you're just someone who wants to just look their best all the time, looking their best meaning looking clean, looking sharp, looking like you thought about what you put on before you walked out, no logos, you know, black, gray, green, dark hunter green, not neon green, khaki, right? Beige color, browns, like solid neutral colors, cool. Pants, you know, make sure that they fit right. And I'm going to get into some other stuff there too, but you just want to look clean. That's it. You just want to make sure that, you know, you can use my rule. You want to look timeless with maybe some of the newest stuff. And you can be able to do that by going to some of the stores that I mentioned. Now, if your budget allows you to buy some other stuff, then yeah, you can splurge. And either way, there's no right or wrong, but I'm just saying that looking your best goes a long way. You know, for females, I don't have to go down that road. You are, ladies, it's easy for you to buy clothing, especially at a good price, because that's just always been the way women can buy clothing for forever. You know, there's tons of discount stores for women to buy some of like the latest looking fashion. I think it's called fast. Like, there's terms for some of this stuff, right? Like women and I think some men's stores, yeah, like H&M, right, for example. Then they call it fast fashion, where it's some of the latest trends. They're always going to be in those stores, and they have it there, you know, for reasonably priced. For reasonably priced. And for men, you know, we don't have as many options as women, but we do have our options for that, you know. And then the style that I'm talking about, like that fits me, is what I believe is called quiet luxury. It's not loud. It's not, you know, it's not in your face. But if you know, you know, right? One of them, you know, like, I think one of the I always mispronounce this brand, but like Zegna, Loro Piana, those are more higher end brands, but they're really nice, right? And this, you know, you have to know about these brands and know that you're wearing one of these items, because if you just look at the shirt or look at the sweater, you would never know what they are, because there's no big logos and big brands and nothing like that on there. But again, there's no right or wrong on how you decide on which route you want to take, whether you want to take a more expensive route or if you want to take more of a, you know, discounted route. Either way is cool, right? It's not about that. It's about how you wear it, and knowing that you're not being too flashy with the branding and things of that nature. And you'll be straight, you know. For women, I think that as long as you're understanding the room that you're about to walk into, right? if you're not going, if you're not down in where I'm living in Miami, if you're not going to the beach, right? Maybe you don't want to be wearing some things that are showing too much skin because that makes you look a certain way. Obviously there's times for that, but if you're going to somewhere that is not a beach or not a pool that does not require you to not have that much clothing on, then, I don't think you should probably wear that. Again, there's no judgment. I'm just, again, this course is helping you to understand what not your parents, but what can get you more relationships, a larger network, helping out your social life, etc. So these are just some of the things to keep in mind, right? Not everything that you're going to be doing from a dressing standpoint is, all the rules don't apply for every situation, but in general, okay, this is what I'm trying to help with. And another thing about, buying clothing is, I know right now, I can't even believe I have to mention this, right? But in the digital times that we live in, it just is what it is, right? It's best. I've always felt like it's still to this day, right? It's still best to buy clothing at the store. Yeah, it's more convenient to just, be laying on your bed and you scroll up a website and you just order it on your phone. That's cool. Yeah, it's convenient. But I always felt like it's much better to walk into a store, try it on right now, right? And then you'll be able to walk out with it right now if you want. Purchase it and walk out. If you bought something online, you got to wait 3 to 5 business days. If you didn't get it overnighted, and then if it doesn't fit, you got to ship it back, and then hopefully, you find something else you like. I never liked buying clothing online, and unless I'm familiar with the brand and I'm familiar with how it wears on me, how it feels on me, then that's different. So you can do that as well too. But I like going to the store. Go to the store, buy things at the store, and truth be told, another thing that happens when you go to the store, when you go to the mall, guess who's there? People. People that you can talk to, people that you can become friends with, because maybe you're a regular at the store now because you're always, pulling up and buying certain things from the store, and they get to know you, they get to know what you like. Those things go a long way. Those things can help you develop your relationships, and those things can help you, especially with your, with the stuff you're learning now. You can go to the mall and practice in the store. I used to love going to the mall, even when I didn't have any money whatsoever. I would love going to the mall, and I used to love asking the sales associates there just a bunch of different questions, and I was honing my skills. So I got a lot of my skills that I know today from building relationships with networking. And I would go to the store and I would ask them, again, questions about the items that I'm looking at, questions about when are some new things coming into the store, ask them questions about how long they've been working there. There's so many different ways to connect with people. Your appearance is one way you can connect, because when you walk outside looking good, someone can see that and they say, oh yeah, subconsciously they thought about what they were wearing before they walked out the house, and they look nice, right? When you don't look good, then people can see, huh? They don't really care about how they look, right? Why should I care about how they look? You gotta just put all this stuff into perspective, and going outside to the mall, to the stores, to go purchase something. Look, you're gonna leave your house. It's gonna help elevate your mood a little bit because you're out of the house, you're outside. You can walk around the mall. That adds to exercise. All of those things goes a long way. You know what I mean? And one other thing that I do want to touch on is your weight, right? That's a part of your appearance. Now for me, I was big for a really long time, for the big part of my adult life. So I understand, being overweight and being self-conscious about some of the things that comes along with that. I understand that, because I was there for a long time. But being overweight says a lot, again, about you to other people. Okay. It kind of tells people that there's no self-discipline. Right now, again, there might be some, health ailments and things of that nature. So I'm not talking about that, but in general, right? If people are overweight, it's because they're not disciplined with what they eat. They're not disciplined with their exercising. And if you're undisciplined enough for long enough, there's gonna be some, effects that happens and takes place. There's gonna be some things you're gonna have to deal with. And those things are not looking good, as good as you can, especially in your clothing, right? How to change that? Knowing that there's two things that helps your appearance from a weight perspective and a health perspective: working out and eating right. Two of the easiest things to do and two of the hardest things to do at the same time. You want to know why? Because both of them are 100% mental. 100% mental. Now, I'm also talking from experience because I was somebody who, for the majority of my life, I would eat several times a day and wasn't working out as much. But, over the course of the last couple of years, I really did a turnaround and changed that. And one of the biggest things that I did was that I started to take on fasting. So if you eat 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, let's chop that down to 2. Okay, you can start there, right? And if you don't have a gym that you go to, go outside and walk for an hour. I'm going to actually do that today. I'm going to go have a nice walk. And when you walk, it again boosts your mood, your mind starts going, and it's really good for your health. You combine eating less with working out, you're going to end up losing weight. I ended up losing 50 pounds over the course of the last, or maybe year and a half, all because I started to eat less. And I started to work out more. I always liked working out. That's the thing. You can work out as much as you want, but if your diet isn't right, the working out is really for nothing. I mean, the working out means nothing. So you can position yourself starting today just to get in a better, health situation for yourself. And it means a lot. It's going to mean a lot for you. It's going to mean a lot for everybody around you. You're going to feel so much better as you begin to do it. I'm at a point right now where I only eat once a day, and I do what's called intermittent fasting. It's been helping me so much, and I do it while working out. As I'm recording this right now, I'm on a 29-hour fast. I'm currently at hour 29 right now as we're talking, and I'm going for 48 hours. I actually just did a 48-hour fast a few days ago and felt great. I was already used to fasting because I would do 20 hours every day. Every day I would fast for 20 hours, and then now I'm up to 48 hours that I do. Now I don't do that every day, but I put myself through that because it's really good for your mind. It's really good for your body. Your body thanks you for it so much. When you fast, it eliminates so many toxins in your body, because your body now has a chance to not use its energy on breaking down and digesting food. It can go back and do all the things that it's supposed to do, like clearing out your cells and helping your digestive system. It helps clean your skin. It's huge with anti-aging. There's so many benefits with fasting that it's just going to help you in every aspect of your life. So I would suggest taking on fasting, working out. And it's going to help, again, with your social life. It really is. Your confidence is going to go through the roof. You're going to feel a lot better about yourself and doing all the things that we're talking about here in this course. So, again, appearance is important. And I want everyone to know that you have the ability, for the most part, if there's no specific, ailments that you're dealing with, then obviously there's maybe some things you have to work around. But everything that you want in your life is really in your hands. You control it. Your appearance you can control. Just adding some of the things that I mentioned in this video here can go a long way. And that's it. Just take one step at a time. And I'm sure that if you start paying attention to your appearance, wearing clothing that's up to date, fits right, clean, modern, women, doing the same exact thing. I don't have to. Women, you're the fashion. You ladies run the fashion world, so you know what to do with that. But if I'm you, I'm taking that step, understanding all of this, and also getting my nutrition right, and exercising, even if it's just walking, and it goes a long way. It'll help out in all of this that we're doing here and other aspects of your life.